flyers. They're going to help us with a summer tour. So we want to take all of our aloha and all of our messages with our powerful, conscious lyrics and take it to the mainland for a summer tour. So we're fundraising right now online, and we have about 38 days left to fundraise. And we just need your help to buy us plane tickets for our entire band. There's 6 of us to go on our summer tour. And we do have CDs available by donation, so those donations help, and this donation helps. So mahalo nui loa, and please take a flyer if you like.
Tiana Malone Jennings, award-winning vocalist. Thank you everybody for coming. It's great to be a part of an amazing community that has a clear vision of what they want. A clean earth, happy community. So we're going to start with Senator Russell. He's a senator that talks and walks Puna. He is the first senator from Puna as well. And representing locals, sustainable agriculture, safe, renewable energy, and known for protecting and supporting Puna and our natural resources. So please welcome Senator Russell Ruderman.
Thank you, Katerina. Let's hear it for Tiana and her band. It's wonderful music. Aloha, everybody. How nice to be in beautiful, sunny downtown Pahoa. How was the parade? I'm embarrassed to say I missed it. Was it a good parade today? Okay. Well, I was just going to take a few minutes to reflect on, politically speaking, what happened last year, what I'm looking forward to next year, and how you folks might be involved, and just maybe a few other comments of a general nature. And as far as questions, you know, I think there's other speakers. It might be better if you guys want to ask me personally, unless there's really time for question and answers. I'm always happy to entertain them. Last year, you know, I was a freshman senator, and I had the lack of success that is typical of freshman legislators. You know, I didn't have a lot of my bills get all the way through. But I did get noticed, and I did form some alliances with some other legislators that will be useful over time. And there was a few victories along the way, and a lot of it relates to what we're doing here. I mean, in many ways, in my mind, something that really energized the progressive political movement in Hawaii was the PLDC, which was a project that happened a couple of years ago, and then people realized what a big mistake it was, and it mobilized a lot of people to get involved. And that mobilization, I think, has led to what can be the beginning of an incredibly powerful organization. I know that you folks at the Puna Pono Alliance have been working with other groups around the state, and together have formed the Hawaii Alliance. And I think that my great hope is that we will keep that alliance together, because there are many other things to work on, and we've shown ourselves to be a very powerful force. In the sense that, among other things, the PLDC did get repealed last year. And, you know, at the beginning of the strangely, I am kind of blamed for that a little bit over there. Some people are still mad at me about this, but I keep telling them, and I really believe it, the exact same thing would have happened if I wasn't there. It was a result of the public outcry against the PLDC. Now, I wasn't even a particular leader in the fight, but I was one of the new people that showed up that year, representing this wave of desiring to correct these kind of mistakes. And in my mind, I really hope that me showing up there, along with a couple other people, is the beginning of a wave and not a fluke, you know, not just something that happened once. And I know there's talk about other people running for elected office, you know, in Puna, the Big Island and statewide, and I really encourage that. I think that is one of the ways change will happen. is if a couple of people on the wrong side of important issues lose an election. I think that has to happen, really, because, for example, on the GMO issue, it's been widely assumed that if you're a Monsanto friend, then you have enough money to win any election no matter what. And I do think that that era is going to come to an end here soon. And we're seeing that almost right before our eyes, I think, this year with both county and state fights. So I'm very encouraged by a new wave of public involvement. It's hard for me to really have perspective since I'm new over there, but it's clear that there's there's a power in this new voice that didn't exist just a few years ago. That, you know, political business as usual was something they could get away with, and the voice of the environmentalist or the activist or whatever it is was just a little noisy distraction and didn't change the course of anything. But I believe that is changing now, and you folks are all a part of it. Interestingly for me, I think one of the big forces that has allowed that to happen is social media. Facebook, Twitter, the internet, email, text. It has allowed people to communicate with hundreds of other people instantaneously, if not thousands. So when something happens, when somebody does something that's offensive and egregious, we can get their picture and their quote and what they've done out to thousands of other activists statewide almost instantly for free. And there's a lot of groups forming like that on Facebook and elsewhere, and I think that it's a powerful force for good. I think it can be a powerful force for good. I'm kind of excited about it. Last year I pushed for quite a few bills that included a couple of things, several things related to small farms and organic farming. I tried to get through a geothermal permitting bill that would restore county input. I tried to get through an anti-fracking bill that would prevent them from using fracking in the context of geothermal. And as well as a GMO bill and a marijuana legalization bill, and quite a few others, but that's a little summary, and none of them succeeded. I have been assured that I got a few of them farther than any freshman has ever gotten before. Which to me is like, that's a small consolation. That's like when your team loses and you just say, wait till next year, you know? It's like, I know, wait till next year is a small consolation to me, but I do realize it's a slow process, and the people who designed our government, who I have great respect for, purposely designed a government that changes slowly, not quickly, so that a wave of hysteria can't change everything. And I realize that we've been the beneficiary of that resistance to change sometimes too, so we have to embrace it. It's a double-edged sword. This coming year, I'm going to intensify my focus on the food issue, local food and local farming. I'm going to form, and we're going to have our first meeting January 7th at the Capitol, the first meeting of a new caucus called Local Food Caucus. And we're going to bring together a bunch of people who are working on this issue, both within the legislature and other non-governmental groups like Puna Pono Initiative, the Kohala Center. There's a group called the Farmers Union. And unlike what's expected of me, I'm going to make this a very mainstream kind of mom and apple pie type of package of deals. The GMO fight will be separate from this caucus, and certain other fights will be separate from it. So here's a set of bills that is almost impossible for anyone to oppose. And I've gotten broad expressions of support from the straightest people in the legislature, you know, and they're going to be on our team. And I like that idea because I think it's a way to market these bills to help them move forward where otherwise they would have been killed. That'll be one of my big focuses, and I will be hoping for your involvement and your advocacy for it, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. I also will be introducing a marijuana decriminalization bill, a medical marijuana dispensary bill, an anti-fracking bill. By the way, two of my bills that failed last year, I was able to get passed as a resolution. A resolution doesn't have the force of a law, but it expresses an intent, and it's often a process of laying the groundwork for maybe getting a bill passed next year. So two of my resolutions that got through was a concern over fracking, and another was to develop a a distance learning center at UH Hilo that would help people who are farmers and food producers in Puna, which will now be which we are working on, by the way. I know some of you were at the meeting with the Dean of the College of Ag and myself just a couple weeks ago. And that will be part of the local food package. We'll be working on a bill to restore county input into geothermal planning, and I'm working closely with Puna Pono Alliance on that and what that should look like and what our strategy will be. And there will be, once again, a fight over the GMO issue at the legislature. Along the way, sometimes I tend to forget, but I'm also working on less controversial issues, such as trying to improve our educational system, trying to get a little bit more money and support for charter schools, who I think are leading the way in alternatives in education. And I've been visiting every school in this district. I've got 2 more to go, but I've visited 14 of the 16 schools in my district. And we actually have more charter schools in my district than any other district in the state. There's 5 of them in what constitutes my district. And they're leading the way, by the way. In fact, Navaiola, what was once Waters of Life Charter School in Mountain View, just got the top prize for school improvement. And they came from almost being bankrupt 5 years ago. And they operate in not one of but the poorest demographic district in the state. And they just got a major award for the most improved school. They brought with them a $90,000 grant and a lot of publicity, a lot of recognition. So there's some... I'm also trying to work on a safe keiki swim area at Pahoa with the help of Luana Jones and others. I'm also trying to work on supporting the growth of the Puna Community Medical Center into an emergency room and eventual medical clinic, along with Renee and Richard. And we're also, here we are at Pahoa School, where they have a library that has exactly 6 parking spaces, including staff. And it is the 3rd most highly used library on the island, after Hilo and Kailua, believe it or not, Pahoa is. And I'm working with the Libraries Division to at least begin the process to study where can we develop a Puna regional library. There's a move statewide to get the libraries out of the schools because they cause certain problems there, security and otherwise, and get the libraries to be standalone learning centers. And the Libraries Division recognizes the need to do one in Puna. They've built a couple of them already around the state, and they recognize the huge growth that has happened in Puna. And so the question will be, where will it go and how will it get funded? But I'm going to propose money for the feasibility study to get that ball rolling. And the Libraries Division is completely on board in this regard. And I've also been able to take some small bits of input with the Department of Transportation and how they develop our highways. And you see, I would love to take credit for the widening of Highway 130 that's going on now, but it really had nothing to do with me, but it's exciting to see it happening. I'm going to watch it. And I've gotten to see how tempting it is for politicians to take credit for anything that happens, you know. Yeah, that was my highway, you know.
Name it after yourself. I never know.
Maybe the library. So we do have that's the kinds of things I'll be working on. And while I'm talking about that, I put a couple of flyers out. I am having a town hall meeting to gather input specifically on legislation this Thursday at the KL Community Center at 6 o'clock. And if I could put a tiny plug in, I'm more than likely going to have a little birthday party for myself. It's a campaign event on January 11th at the Hawaiian Shores Community Association. It's a little tentative, but we're probably going to have an afternoon campaign birthday party. I'm hitting one of those big milestones, and instead of ignoring it, I thought we'd celebrate.
Happy 30th, Russell.
Oh, thank you. I'm actually 40 already, but... All right. I was going to talk a little bit about how to effectively to advocate for your position. And some of you have heard this before, please forgive me, but I find it to be one of the most useful things that I've learned that I can communicate to everybody else. You know, it's very tempting when you're concerned about a subject to just send an email blast. You know, you can go to the website, click on all legislators or all councilmen of the county and send them an email. And that's fine. It does express your support. It does count. But you can be more effective with that email. With those 5 minutes that you're sending an email, I'm going to give you a few specific tips here. One is, send that email to each legislator individually. It'll take you 5 minutes instead of 1, but it's worth it. Because when they see that email aimed at them, they take it more personally. And it's very easy to just delete an email that's been sent to 50 people and you're just one of the names on the list. If you're their constituent, say so. Say so right up front. And by the way, right up front, give the briefest expression of what you're writing for, like yes on Bill 113 or no on Bill 2, whatever it is. And put your name and the fact that you're a constituent right at the beginning. I encourage everyone to be polite and civil in their communications, even if you strongly disagree with that person, okay? Because think about what you're trying to do. You're trying to change somebody's mind here. You know, what's it like when someone comes up to you, starts calling you names and questioning your background and your moral character and everything, and then say, oh, by the way, I want you to do something for me. Versus, hello, how are you today? You know, and I'd like you to do something for me. So, if you need to vent, write a strong venting letter and throw it in the trash or delete it, and then write a different letter to try to change your legislator's mind, because it will be counterproductive to be rude and antagonistic to that legislator, no matter how strongly you feel about it. And there's a couple of kinds of input. One is just generally, I feel this way. The other is related to a specific bill or issue that's coming up. And the most targeted input you can make is when a bill is coming up before a specific committee or coming up for a public hearing. And if you send that email or that phone call or letter that week, during those days when that issue is actively before that legislator, that's much more important than the general comment. And who should get that should not only be your legislators, the ones that are your constituents, but the chair and all the members of the relevant committee. And sometimes that takes a little digging to find out. My office can always help you with that. And there's a piece of paper being passed around about a meeting coming up, I think, when is it? This Monday?
Yes, December 16th.
Thank you. And where is that?
At the Community Center.
Pahoa Community Center. And that's for the public access room, is going to teach people more about what I'm talking about. We actually have, for all the faults of our government, we have one of the best public access legislative websites in the country. Our state legislature does, where you can find out all kinds of information. You can put in a keyword, find out if there's any bills coming up about that, where they are, and who's going to see them next. And emails or letters to the chair and members of that committee are golden, and they're worth 1,000,000 times more than an email in the middle of the summer to everybody. So if you can learn to target your efforts, it will make them much, much more effective. And I'm really excited about the public access room workshop that you guys are doing. And by the way, the public access room is there 12 months a year. They're kind of like librarians to help you navigate the state legislature. And they're really good folks there, and they're really knowledgeable. I encourage you to use it. I'm really thankful for the level of involvement that we've seen in the last year or two. Once again, in some ways, it got a quantum boost from the PLDC. I know here in Puna, we were activated by geothermal 20-some years ago, and then reactivated about 3 or 4 years ago when geothermal rose from its slumber and started threatening again. But we have a really powerful group here, and we have a really powerful group statewide. And I'm going to point to a couple of examples of victories that have happened quite recently. We all just saw a GMO ban happen on the Big Island, which is historic. It's of national importance. I know a lot of you folks have been very active in that. And, I was pretty much on the sidelines because it's a county issue, but I am so proud of the Big Island for doing that, and it's a major thing. And of course, it comes right on the heels of Kauai County doing a different but related bill to start to get the pesticides used with GMOs flushed out into the public eyesight. And that's a huge thing. We just 2 weeks ago passed marriage equality. We made gay marriage legal in Hawaii, which 2 years ago would have been unthinkable. And I was really proud to play a small role in that. It was really exciting. A lot of my colleagues say that was the biggest thing that's happened there in a long time. And it was very interesting to watch. There was examples of great bravery, and there was examples of great cowardice. I mean, there was two legislators in the House that stayed home for both the crucial votes, even though they were in town that day. Can you imagine if your legislator had not voted on the most controversial thing that happened? And then there was other people that stood up against, hundreds of organized groups to say that they're wrong and they have to look at it a different way. And that took a lot of bravery, and I was really happy to be a part of that. Of course, there was the PLDC repeal. And there's a couple of things just happened in the last 2 months that probably no one knows about, but they are a direct result of this organized movement that involves social media and activist groups. There were 2 appointments that the governor had made. One of the Senate's roles besides legislation is to confirm the governor's appointments. So they come up during the session and we see these people, and usually they get confirmed 100% of the time. It's almost like a rubber stamp. But when we came into session for the marriage equality bill, it was required that we review the recent interim appointments that had happened, of which 2 or 3 were a little controversial. And I saw this amazing thing happen. One was the appointment of Ginny Samuelson to be the director of the Office of Environmental Quality Control, which she had been in the past under Lingle and Cayetano, during which time the Office of Environmental Quality Control was essentially dismantled and stripped of all of its power. It's the only agency we have in the state whose specific purpose is environmental watchdog. And they were appointing once again someone to lead that organization who was going to do exactly what the governor told them to, and not what the Office of Environmental Quality Control wanted. And a lot of people organized against that. Instrumental in that fight was the Sierra Club. I have to give them a lot of credit. Robert Harris and the Sierra Club and they are the strongest voice for the environment. And they stood up and said, no, this is completely unacceptable. It's not just a little bit unacceptable, it's completely. And they organized some very high-level people who were going to come out and speak against her at the hearing. And it was going to be an embarrassment and a humiliation for her, and she backed down. The governor backed down. Now, I actually got a call from the governor. It's only twice he's ever called me. We were driving, he calls, this is Governor Neal. Called me, like, he wants me to please consider supporting Ginny, and because it will be embarrassing for him if she doesn't get approved. And I had to be honest with him and said, well, Governor, honestly, this isn't my fight, but if all the environmental groups in the state oppose the most important environmental appointment you're going to make, I'm not going to fight. I mean, I think that's the wrong appointment. I think those groups should have something to say about that. And she pulled her name 2 days before the hearing. She withdrew her nomination. And that was a result of folks like you getting Facebook and email messages and responding. And they got so much response that they saw it was a tide they couldn't turn against. The other was much less known, a fellow named Sean Smith, who's a really nice guy. He's from Kauai, but he's involved in what's currently a rather controversial land development deal there, and he was being appointed to the land board. And that just smelled funny to a lot of people, and once again, there was so much opposition that they withdrew that, so they never even had the hearing. They realized it wasn't going to win. And in both cases, I was on a committee that was going to hear that, and on the Energy and Environment Committee, we were going to vote 5-0 to not recommend Ginny Samuelson. And that would never have happened before. They saw the embarrassment that was going to come and they backed down. So like I said, usually these are rubber stamps. So these are examples of the power of our voice changing what happened in government. They're not on the front page headlines, but they're extremely important, and you guys did that. I want you to know what a huge victory that was. Anyway, I do want to congratulate the Puna Pono Alliance and everyone that's been working with them. I think you guys have done an incredible job. You know, when I'm over there, I represent Puna District, as Katerina said, and it's a great source of pride. I mean, not everybody else understands it, but I represent you guys, I represent Pele, and I represent a really wonderful part of the state. And it gives me a great source of strength, and I'm really proud of it, you know. And so congratulations to the Puna Pono Alliance, who has really shown their muscle and really shown their ability to get out the people and show a lot of force. And I just encourage you all to stay involved, be strong, be civil, but be loud, organize and stay organized. And in the words of Margaret Mead, don't ever doubt that a small group of committed people can change the world. In fact, that's the only thing that ever has changed the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Russell. Woo! Yeah. So glad you got elected. And now Bobby Trici, the president of Puna Pono, one of the big muscles of Puna Pono and for this community, tirelessly working with so much energy to bring the awareness of geothermal to the community, to the county, to the DOH, to the EPA, to the state, to the feds, and on and on and on. And thank you so much, Bob, for everything you've done and still doing. Bobby Trici.
Aloha. Yeah, first I want to say congratulations, Puna. The mayor signed the bill. And I'll tell you what, he signed the bill because of you guys. Because of the new political muscle that we have built. And not just Puna Pono, GMO-free Hawaii, Babes Against Biotech, Sierra Club. I mean, there's a whole bunch of us out there, and we are networking, and we are coming together, and we should continue to build on what we've accomplished here because we can make a difference. I think Puna is probably going to be one of the biggest emerging political powers over the next decade, and you know, we want to be part of that. So some of the things that we got done this year: no nighttime drilling, no fracking, no GMOs, no more GMOs in Hawaii. A year ago, a lot of people would have said that couldn't be done. So we really do need to build on that. One of the things now we're going to go to the legislature. And that's where, and I just want to say thank you, Russell. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are awesome. And I'm really proud to have you as our senator from Puna. But so what Puna Pono, you know, so what we learned last year at the legislature was a lot of things, but one of the things was that we can make a difference if we can generate testimony. And we generated 50 testimonies, 100 testimonies, maybe a couple of hundred testimonies. So what we're doing now, and Barb's going to be coordinating this, is we're making a legislative response email list for people that are willing to send testimony on issues, and we're going to try and coordinate that. And that's really what we need as Puna Pono from the community. We need you to send testimony once in a while on some of these bills, and if we can do that, I mean, if we could get to 500 testimonies on an issue, I think Russell would probably tell you, we can make a difference. We can probably get some of the things that we want for Puna. So I hope everybody will talk about that and participate in that, because for me, that's probably the most important thing that we're going to be doing next year. You know, we met with, a lot of you might not know, we went to a meeting, a second meeting with Helco about a week before they announced they're going to delay the RFP again. And, you know, we'd like, I think what they were saying to us is Helco's not convinced that geothermal is going to work economically for Helco. They're being pressured into this. So there's, you know, there's a lot going on. We're intervening at the PUC, which will have to, if there is an RFP, they'll have to approve the contract, and we'll be able to hopefully participate in that. And we are going to be participating in setting energy policy. We're going to have a seat at the table. We got Tom Travis, who's going to come up here later, is our representative. And I'll tell you what, man, the guy is just amazing. He's a computer modeling expert, which their whole thing is based on computer modeling. And, you know, so we're in a pretty good position. Thank you all very much for everything. You know, really has been amazing to see Puna just come together and become such a force. Keep it up. We're not all going to agree on everything. There's, you know, there's personality differences and all of that, but keep your eye on the ball, on the bigger issue, and let's work together. Thanks.
Yeah, stop the bickering and keep the eye on the big goal. Anyway, thank you, Bob Petrici. Now, he was talking about getting, you know, people 500 testimonies, and this is what Steve Sparks, our PPA's great volunteer that has organized the March on Helco. So he's going to talk about the Flash network that he's going to organize and how that's going to affect the next year's legislature. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Everybody's been talking about the legislature and how we need to communicate with our legislators. Not just the legislature, not just Russell, not just Fay. We need to communicate with all of the committee members on certain bills. And we want to set up a Flash network. You get lots of emails. And what a Flash network is, when there's Flash in the subject, it means we need you to respond now. Within the next half hour, within the next 25 minutes, you know, because there's something going on that is important. Russell's office has called us. We have been there. We will have people at the legislature checking on things, what committees are getting what bills. It's really important that we all understand that this is not a slow motion process. They have like 5 days to get bills in after something like that. And there's 2,000 some odd bills go up, maybe even more. But on the 16th, which is a week from Monday, the state legislature is sending their representatives to show us what best way to use their website. PAR, which is the public access room in the legislature, they're sending people over to teach us. We need as many people as possible to show up at the community center at 6 o'clock and go through this training so we can do it easily. So when you get an email, and we need you to join our Flash network. If we can get 30 people to join the Flash network, that's great. If we can get 100 people to join it, that means you only have to do it every once in a while. It's not like someone's sitting there all the time doing this. We have great people on the staff of both our legislators, and they will help us. They will give us input. Dava said she could just tell us what's going on. This won't be an essay. This will be, we need you, this is the bill, this is a summary of what the bill is about, and we will give you all the information on the bill after the legislature starts. So you'll have it in paper form. You can form your own opinion. We won't write it for you. We want you to write your own thought process. But we want you to be involved. We don't care if you're a radical or a progressive or a conservative or just somebody who doesn't care anymore. This is a way of getting involved again. If you don't think the system works, then it's your problem, because you need to get it working. It's really important that you come to this workshop and get involved so we can actually improve what's going on. If there's cynicism out there, then you're not working. It doesn't take time, it doesn't take, everybody's got 10 minutes. And that's all it takes to do this. But all you have to do is sign up. It'll be fun. You're going to meet a whole bunch of new people. It'll evolve into a larger and larger network. We'll go statewide, and who knows what happens from there. But we need you to show up on December 16th to take this workshop. We need you to think about signing up for the Flash Network so we can actually have a voice. And we can all do this if we work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, we can truly make a difference, and one big example of that is GMO-free Hawaii. You know, they have been in existence only for 6 months. I mean, this is how fast things are changing right now. So we have here with us Blake Watson, a coordinator from GMO-free Hawaii, and he's going to give us a little talk as well. Hi, Blake.
Aloha. I'm not the spokesman or person for GMO-free Hawaii Island. That person is Eden Peart, and she's on vacation in Washington. And she's been working on this issue for over 15 years. So we just won this great bill, but before we get into that, I did have a speech prepared before the mayor decided to do the wonderful thing and sign our bill and make history for himself and for everyone. That's great, but I'm kind of like beside myself still, but I wanted to go back into history a little bit and talk about what happened in the 90s. Remember Governor Cayetano, and he during the late 90s he was given the award as Biotechnology Governor of the Year, and he made a plan to have Hawaii promote and accept and do everything they could to get the biotechnology companies here working and doing their seed crops and their experimentation crops on GMOs. And, oh, okay. Is that better? Okay, so Cayetano was Biotechnology Governor of the Year in the late 90s, and he helped the legislature come up with tax breaks and incentives, and they've quietly have been embedded themselves into agriculture in the other states, or the other counties, and luckily not so much here. And there was issues along the way. There was one issue of farm labor was kind of soaked up by these companies. People that wanted to start farms during these periods of times were having a hard time finding workers who were getting, $10, $12 an hour working for the seed companies. And that's just sort of the drew, and the lands were being, the best, primest, easiest to work lands were being used up. So now we here on this island, of course, you probably all know, we passed the Coffee and Taro Bill in 2008. And Maui passed their own taro bill, banning GMO coffee and taro moving forward. And so that's really, really, really important. So despite the fact that we've come this far with this great bill that we've passed, I think it's important to recognize that there's so much more to do. And at the state level especially, we have this thing in Hawaii where the state can preempt our ability to pass local ordinances that have to do with farming and a lot of other issues as well. So we always fight for home rule, but we don't actually have home rule, because if they can do that, then we don't have it. And so in response to that issue, that's actually kind of a nationwide issue. 41 different states, if I got the figure correct, don't have official home rule. They have something else called Dillon's Rule, which is from the 1800s having to do with railroads. It's a long story, but essentially the state treats the counties like they're the children, and the state is a parent, and they can kind of override based on this type of thing. So so far, with the preemption bills that come up every single year in the legislature to counter any future GMO legislation moving forward in the counties, they've always written them to respect what we've passed already, but then they want to make it so we can't make any further ones. Now they could be a little more harsh and retroactively like nullify our law we just passed. We're hoping they don't do that. But to counter that whole thing, something that's kind of sprouting up around different counties, including ours, is this thing called Democracy School. And Kauai's been involved with it, this island's been involved with it, Maui's been involved with it, and Oahu's just starting to get interested and learn about it. And it's promoted by this organization called CELDIF, which is a Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund. And they teach the history of how this whole government system is basically an unsustainable system of government that preempts our ability to have self-rule. And if we get organized in all the different counties and we learn about ways that we can first name the problem and then get organized as a state, we could be ready at the next constitutional convention of the state of Hawaii to ask for a constitutional change to our constitution that allows us to have real home rule and get rid of Dillon rule once and for all. So they won't be able to preempt these laws anymore. I was really amazed, and I'm sure a lot of you were, at the letter that Mayor Billy Kanoi wrote when he signed Bill 113 into law. And if you don't mind, I'd like to entertain just one quote of it, because I think it speaks, it's like one of the a strong piece of testimony that a lot of people gave to support the bill in itself. And so I'll just read it to you guys if you don't mind. Our community has a deep connection and respect for our land, and we all understand we must protect our island and preserve our precious natural resources. We are determined to do what is right for the land because this place is unlike any other place in the world. With this new ordinance, we are conveying that instead of global agribusiness corporations, we want to encourage and support community-based farming and ranching. So thank you so much, Billy, for that. That's really amazing. And I hope he lives up to it. Let's hold him to it. You know, that's a great stuff he said. Let's make sure he doesn't forget what he said and moving forward. It was already mentioned about Kauai Bill 2491 being passed, and that's really awesome. So now Maui County is doing a really similar bill to what Kauai just did, and that actually was introduced the same day that the mayor signed our bill. So let's support Maui and think about what they're doing moving forward. And apparently they had a really good opening day of testimony on that. That was last Thursday. I'd like to just talk real briefly about farmers in support and farmers not in support of this bill 113 that just passed. There was this group, and they're still formed, they're called Hawaii Farmers United. And they're basically a group that's a mixture of various agribusiness groups and local farm bureau groups and papaya groups. And they came out with this erroneous claim that 8% of the Hawaii's agriculture producers was against the bill. And there's lots of farmers that never got polled for that. And they were pretty upset when they heard this. So real quick, fast, a bunch of them organized, and GMO Free Hawaii Island helped with some of that. And we ended up getting, within a week, 280 different small farmers, business organizations related to farming, and to support the bill and deliver that to the mayor last Tuesday. So maybe that has some influence, and out of that, we want to keep growing that database of local farmers in support of this type of legislation. So I encourage any farmers that feel like they want their voices to be heard and not just sort of squashed because they're not organized. Let's start that organization. We previously did have a local branch of the Hawaii Farmers Union. That was kind of the point of the Hawaii Farmers Union, really. And we could do it again. Right now there's a new Kona chapter. We need to make a Hilo chapter. But let's build the database. So we've already got one going, and if you'd like to work through our organization to let us know who you are as one of those types of people, please send an email to our GMO Free Hawaii Island at gmail.com, and you can go see Chandel back there, and she can help you with any signups and things like that. Let's see what else I want to cover. All I can say is we just took a step in the right direction, and I'm really, really proud. I think it's amazing. It's kind of record-breaking the amount of people that came out and testified. The first round of, I think it was Bill 79, had over 1,000 written testimonies and 273 physical people who showed up to testify, which is already a record breaker. Now with Bill 113, at the end of it, 2,000 people sent in written testimony for Bill 113. So That's why he's trying to build. So go Big Island, and let's move forward into a sustainable direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Blake. Another initiative we have is energy conservation, and Jeff Last from Puna Pono is going to talk about it. We had Yan Chin, that used to be working with HELCOP on their conservation program, has given us some workshops, and Jeff Last is going to talk about that. Thank you.
Aloha, everyone. We've been running a program now at the Mku Market now for about 8 months, almost a year, an education program, and all that information is back there. And what we do with the education program is we try and get people to open up, to change their view, to look at things differently. And we've done a lot of research. We have histories, we have a lot of the information that's being put out there by the geothermal expansion. We have comments and facts against these things, and we're trying to get the truth out there. And so what we've done now is we're taking on a new course, and this new course is we're going to educate people about their electric bill and conservation. That's what we want to do. We figure we can help break the back of this energy grab, this thing that's going on, is by getting people to use less energy. That's what's going on with us. Since, what is it, I think 2007 or 2008, the energy usage peaked here in Hawaii. I mean, here it is, it's the top, and it's been going down ever since, and the population has been going up. So do we really need more energy? That's the big question. And the answer is, of course, to Puna Pono, is we don't need more energy. We need to use what we have better, and we have to learn how to use less. And we're now going to have, and we've started it already, bring your HELCO bill to the market. If you know people that have a high HELCO bill, bring it to the market. If they're complaining about it, you can go back and look at our little display back there, and we will sit down and do a 10-minute consultation with you on how to lower your HELCO bill. Because there's a lot of little hidden things that most people don't know how to use less energy. And we're very excited about this, because we figure we can help break their back, for lack of a better word to say it, with the usage. Get them to use less electricity. Help people out, help the community, get them to use less electricity and have less of a demand for this insane geothermal expansion that they want to do here in Puna. Thank you very much.
Okay, so just so you know, Jeff is holding an educational booth at Maku's Market, and can you imagine, almost every Sunday he is there 3 a.m. waiting to educate people on geothermal. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for everything that you're doing. And now the next big muscle of Puna Pono, Tom Travis, who has done so much, so many position papers, so much work with Adler studies, so much figuring out what's the next step, and figuring out that they really want to do fracking, which they call enhanced geothermal. So thank you so much for that, Tom.
I hope to be very, very quick. First of all, I'd like to ask everyone's support for the Flash Network and to show up on the 16th.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, we passed the fracking bill in the county, and I'm going to. Okay, we passed the fracking bill in the county, but it's going to be undone by one very simple thing in the state legislature. Somebody's going to slip in a little amendment in one of the bills that says BLNR should regulate enhanced geothermal. Just those words is all it takes, and all of it will be undone. Now everybody knows that that's possible, so we're alerted to it. But the fact is that's when we're going to have to send out that Flash Network and get a whole bunch of emails real fast that say, hey, you guys, quit screwing around with us. We're watching. So that's very, very important. I'd like to congratulate the community of Puna. I don't think the mayor signed the GMO bill because he had a change of heart. I think he signed the GMO bill because he sees an effective political force that's saying, hey, if you don't sign this bill, you may lose more votes than you gain. And that is that's very much due to this community, which has contributed to what Russell said. I think most of the letters on the confirming that guy, and I forgot it, or that woman, many of those letters came from Puna. And Sierra Club said, wow, when we ask Puna to do something, it happens. So I'd like to congratulate the community. Another thing that's happening that is in progress but is very, very powerful is that the county is slowly taking a stand against the Department of Health about the inadequate monitoring for hydrogen sulfide for geothermal. And the Environmental Protection Agency is currently planning to come out here with the Department of Health and have a day in Puna in which that case can be made. Standing right beside Puna Pono Alliance will be the Civil Defense Director from the County of Hawaii. Additionally, it's possible, Mayor Kim will also be there, but it's also possible that additional folks from the federal government will be sitting in on that meeting. So all of a sudden, the political power is such that that meeting is not us just trying to embarrass people by the fact of how inadequately they've done, but that meeting will actually have some political capital involved, and there is a chance that we may be able to change and influence the Department of Health. Finally, I'd like to talk a little bit in more detail quickly about the meeting with Jay Ignacio. We went into the meeting with Jay and we said, what are you going to change because of the demonstration and the petition? Jay said, we're not changing we're not going to do away with the RFP. And I said, so I need to go back to the community and say, hey, they're not changing any processes or procedures, but they hurt us. Trust Helco. I said, I'm not willing to do that. So we talked a while with Jay and we learned several things, but we did get two commitments from him. One is that he's going to ask the community to participate in future planning processes for Helco. And the second thing is that he has agreed that we can release the following statement. Helco finds value in much of the Adler report and supports the county in effectively implementing the recommendations of that report. Now that's more political power to get some of these things looked at. For you that don't know, the Adler report recommends a health study, it recommends improved monitoring, recommends baseline studies, recommends an environmental review of HGPA, and it also involves doing water studies to see if we've harmed the water, the aquifer, and the ocean with the geothermal we've done there. So all in all, things are looking pretty good. We have a lot of things going on. If you ask yourself how can you support, the answer is show up on the 16th, sign up for the Flash Network, and be ready on short notice to write testimony. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll have one speaker now, and then we'll take a break with Occupella's Hawaii Islands for a few songs, and after them, we're going to have 3 more speakers. So the next speaker is a community activist member that got involved with GMO Free Hawaii, supporting local agriculture and sustainable future. really part of the community that is considering to run for the county council seat. Derek Brewer.
It's Eco Hostel Hawaii, and I stayed out at Hedonesia when I first came out here with Mojo and Linda there, and got my first taste of what was being done in the Puna area and what was possible here as far as sustainable living, alternative building structures, and freedom essentially. And I was very much inspired by what I saw here, and decided to come out here and make this my life and my home as well. And so we've come a long way there, and we're still under construction in Hawaiian Acres with building our farm and our community there. But I've been active since the beginning of Bill 79 with the political process here, with testifying and trying to make changes for the betterment of the community here. And it's really been an inspiring thing to see how many people truly care about the environment and culture and consciousness of all people on the planet here. And I was considering running for either Gregor Illigan's or Zendo Kern's spot, depending on what the rules and restrictions really are there, to make sure that we have a voice that truly represents what we want for Puna and for the future of Hawaii. And sustainable agriculture and sustainable living is the future, and that should be the norm and will be the norm here. And so I'm hoping that you will support me and assist me in my endeavors with that. And I'd like to get to know and meet a lot more of you, and we can all do this together and make Puna and Hawaii the place that everyone wants to live in, and especially us. Thank you very much.
Geothermal is something to dismay. Oh, hydrogen sulfide got loose too many days to show us geothermal power can really go astray. There are tidings of sorrow and fear, sorrow and fear. There are tidings of sorrow and fear. Built on vaulted coastal lines so we can live as well, but earthquake and blowouts create a living hell. We cannot take such chances and pleasantly here dwell. There are tidings of sorrow and fear, sorrow and fear. There are tidings of sorrow and fear.
Okay, hopefully the freedom will not slip away and they'll share the dough. Anyway, I just heard the great news. Carrie Peterson Marks is gonna run for the county council seat in Jay Yoshimoto's district. Carrie with Occupy Hilo and Puna Pono. Thank you, Carrie, so much. So please welcome Carrie Peterson Marks.
Oh, that's the wrong one? Hello? That's the right one. Hello, everybody. Yes, it's true. The rumors of my death are true. No, I'm thinking about it. I'm running. I actually have a website that's not launched yet, but Jay Yoshimoto is termed out this time, finally. So I will be running for the District 2 County Council seat. Okay, so that part's over. What I actually came to talk to everybody about today was Occupy Hilo. I wanted to quick run down this awesome past year that we've had, because we have had an amazing year here on the Big Island. Occupy Hilo was founded about 2 years ago, and over the last year, we've really gotten involved in a lot of different community organizations and a lot of different issues. In the beginning of the year, we stood with the teachers for the Work to the Rules campaign. They didn't have a contract for years on end, and they've gotten their contract now, so that's a win. We also abolished the PLDC. As far as I'm concerned, I abolished it all by myself. And Russell helped. Everybody did that. That was an amazing effort. And I want to emphasize and remind you of what Russell said about that. That was kind of a turning point in activism in Hawaii.
because all of a sudden we are using social media, we're using our email lists, we're using our friendships, and getting some really great results. Our ability to contact each other and communicate with each other in a real-time basis has changed everything as far as what it's like to live in an island state. We no longer have to wait for the newspaper to come out to print yesterday's news about Oahu. If you want to know what's going on in your Puna Community Development project plan, you can find that out immediately. So I want to encourage everybody to keep doing what you've been doing and establish new connections. It's really, really important that we all show solidarity with each other for the different issues that we have. Some people, it's all about geothermal and that's all they talk about and all they think about all day long, and that's awesome because we need people like that can focus like a laser beam and get from the beginning to the end of an issue and see it clearly. But we also need people that sit outside that bubble, that can look in and give you perspective and to draw connections between that issue and others, like energy in general, basically. Geothermal, you need to know, because this is your neighborhood, it's your backyard, and you need to know exactly what's going on with that plant. But you also need to understand how that plays into the larger picture, that you feed into a grid system that feeds the whole island. And so you have to care that people in Kona use air conditioning and open their doors and let it run all day. That matters, because that energy comes from your neighborhood and gets pumped up over the hill to there. So we've done a really good job at that this last year, and so I just want to encourage everybody to keep doing that. Keep making connections, keep establishing new community groups and new organizations, and take on new challenges. And get ready for next year, because we do have some battles to fight next year. The state ledge is coming up any minute now. So definitely go to the public access room trainings on the 16th. There's one here in Pahoa. There's actually, I think, 6 of them all over the island. So if you cannot make that night, try and go to one of the other ones. There's one in Hilo at the UH and one up Mountain View. That training is also on their website, already canned and ready to go. You can go home tonight and look up public access room and watch that training. And figure out how to use the Hawaii government website to submit testimony and all that kind of stuff. I'm very excited to hear about Steve's Flash Network. I want to know more about that because he's right. We have a very short window. When the state you don't have days. You have 48 hours. When the state ledge puts out an agenda, you have 48 hours to turn in your testimony and to rally the troops. And so we did a really good job at that last year, and I expect us to do even better this year. The PLDC is POW, thank goodness. But the next battle, we've set our sights on something called the ADC. If you knew and cared about what the PLDC is, you need to figure out what ADC is. It's the Agribusiness Development Corporation. It already exists. So that's going to be the next PLDC battle, and it ties into a lot of our other battles that we've been fighting so far. Be ready for the attack on home rule. Be ready for them to be coming after us and to take away all of our rights and responsibilities for health and safety. We have to stay on target with that. And to continue to focus at the county level too. The mayor signed our bill. That's awesome. GMOs are banned now, but it is not over. We're actually at one of the most critical points of this particular GMO battle, because now they're going to develop an ad hoc committee. Remember that from way back? Who do you suppose is going to populate the ad hoc committee? You guys? Unlikely. We need to be on them like white on rice, basically. And I also would like to encourage everybody to consider being a commission member of the ad hoc committee. December 17th, Tuesday, that will be on the County Council Committee agenda. They're going to talk about the ad hoc committee. They're going to talk about something about bees and something about establishing numbers and a framework for the Organic Farmer Network here on the island. So 3 very important ag issues on Tuesday the 17th. Everybody please send in testimony or go to that if you can. And that, oh, and Russell's thing on Thursday at 6 o'clock. If you didn't write that down, write it down right now. Go to Russell's thing in KO on Thursday at 6 o'clock. It's really important to find all of your legislators right now too. Once they go back to the state leg in January, they're gone for pretty much 4 or 5 months in a row. So now's the time to find Faye, find Russell, and create a relationship with them. I'll tell you what, everything Russell said, I'm going to play it back and we'll make a little short video of that so you can all watch it again. That was good advice about how to submit testimony and to have it seen. It's one thing to generate 500 emails and to overwhelm them with that. It's another one to get your email actually read out of those 500, and there's ways to do that. So thank you, everybody. Awesome 2013. Looking forward to 2014. And that's it. Aloha.
Gosh, can you imagine her in county council? That would be awesome. Okay, the next speaker needs no introduction. Renee Siracusa.
I want to make one little addition to what the previous speaker was saying, and that before I start what I was going to say, and that is that it's great to testify, but you know, you can also be in a position of power to make those decisions when you serve on one of these boards and committees. A lot of people don't want to do it. They don't want to take the time. Usually it's one meeting a month. I'm talking about county level here. And there's some preparation, you know, reading and studying the issues that will come up before the committee. But you can be in a really good position to be a friendly face on the committee when people who are like-minded come before you to testify on these issues. And the way to do it is really quite simple. You go to the county building, to the Office of Information and Complaint, and you ask for the form where you can put yourself down as someone who's interested in serving on a board or commission. That form will list all the boards and commissions that have openings coming up. And you just check all the ones that you think would be pertinent, that you would want to be a voice for reason on. And I urge you to really seriously consider getting involved to the point where you would serve in such a way. Okay, that said, what I was going to talk about, we might be congratulating ourselves a little bit too soon about the wonderful win on GMO, that the council passed the bill and that the mayor signed it. I supported the bill. I supported all of its previous versions, even though I felt that none of them went far enough. None of them went as far as I wanted them to go. Because that guy up in Hamakua is still growing GMO grain that he's feeding his cows, whose milk Medigold is buying, that all of us are very often don't have much choice but to buy if we want milk or milk products at all. Papaya is still growing GMO, and you can't grow GMO anywhere within pollen drift of a GMO papaya field, because then your pure papayas will be contaminated. So when they say how the transgenic papaya saved the industry, well, that industry went from getting $4 a pound to getting less than $1 a pound now. And when they say don't transgenic papaya, well, it's already been dissed. They've lost consumer support, and the proof of that is the low price, because in our economic system, you know, it's supply and demand, and they've lowered the price because fewer and fewer people are buying that. Whatever your reasons are for opposing GMO produce, the big gorilla in the room is the unscrupulous international mega corporations who are trying to get control of our food supply. And once they do, you know damn well that they're going to use that power to pretty much hold it over everyone's head and make us do what they want. It's like charging for air, you know? And so I think that there's a very good reason for us to not rest on our laurels with Bill 113 passage and the mayor signing it. Before he signed it, I sent him a letter and I made a suggestion to him for what I call Pono agriculture. And I asked him to really seriously consider this as an ultimate goal for Big Island agriculture. With people all over the world increasingly being against GMOs and not wanting them in their food supply, not wanting to feed their families with GMO produce. It's getting harder and harder for those people, even if they were labeling, which there isn't, it's getting harder and harder for them to find food that doesn't contain GMOs. Almost everything you look at has high fructose corn syrup, which is made from GMO corn. And even unlikely things like horseradish sauce. You say, why would anyone want to sweeten that, you know? But go, try to find some horseradish sauce that doesn't have high fructose corn syrup. You'll spend a lot of gas driving around looking for it. So what we really need to do is take that GMO bill to the next step, and the next step beyond that, and the next step beyond that. We need to say to the papaya farmers, you know, if you guys, when they found the ring spot virus, if you had agreed to cull your trees at that point in time and grew something else, God forbid, for 2 years, the ring spot virus would have died out because it wouldn't have had a host. And then you could have gone back to growing non-GMO papaya. And all the people who were growing organic papaya or just natural papaya before would be able to continue growing it. And you, the consumer, would have an option for eating it. I would like to see us move in a direction of slowly phasing that out, not letting the nursery growers grow GMO ornamentals, because so many of those ornamentals are genetically related to our native plants, which are already stressed out and becoming endangered. So I propose to you that we aim for a vision to create on Hawaii Island a heritage plant sanctuary. This is what I proposed to the mayor. I said, just imagine, you know, we would be one of the few places in the world that could export to people who don't want to eat GMOs. It would totally change the whole market, change the whole farming. We wouldn't have the situation like the papaya farmers are trying to tell our county council, where GMOs, this Bill 113, would destroy farming and agriculture. It would actually create better farming. It would create Pono agriculture. And I asked Billy to keep that as a goal, and I ask all of you to keep that as a goal and work towards it and not rest on our laurels. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Renee. Yeah, I think it's really easy to imagine that tasty, heirloom, healthy food is going to fetch a much higher price than quick, big agriculture business, you know, and the seeds coming out of them and fruit produce coming out of the big agribusiness. The next local community that we want to support and introduce is Hawaii Sustainable Community Alliance. And we have a representative here with us, he's a VP, and also director of Indonesia Hawaii Sustainable Community, Mojo Mustafa. He's going to talk about their bill and initiative to legalize sustainable living. Thank you.
Aloha. Yeah, well, my name is Mojo, and I represent the Hawaii system. Can you hear me?
No.
Oh, okay.
Tilt it down. There you go.
Right on.
That's good.
Okay. Maybe
Hold it.
I'll just hold it for a second. Yeah, well, to explain what the Hawaii Sustainable Community Alliance is we're an alliance of Hawaii-based multifamily land. Can you hear me? Yeah. Intentional communities, homesteads, eco-villages, and other groups that are working towards an economically and sustainable future in Hawaii. We do that by promoting working through the system, sort of following a little bit of what Russell Ruderman's advice is, of working through the system politely and patiently to engage in promoting legislation that protects sustainable living and sustainable communities. And one of the bills that we have going through, first I should say a little bit about the history, was that we started in 2010. There were 5 citizens in the area, and we formed this alliance, and that was just 5 of us in 2010. Since that time, our alliance has grown to over 600 members in the local community, and we have had a little bit of legislative success. We've had 2 resolutions that have been passed. They did kind of die at that level. And currently we have Bill HB 111, which is the Sustainable Living Research Act, which again is for the promotion and protection of community living as well as alternative building styles. Because currently in Hawaii, there are thousands and thousands of people who have dwellings or live in communities that for some reason or the other are deemed illegal. They're not permitted. There's some legislative hurdle that is there that prevents them from becoming truly legal. And what we're trying to do is work through the system to basically become legal. Our community, as well as many others, and also people who want to build dwellings on their housing that might not be the same as what the standard uniform building code wants, but is a bit different and is also eco-friendly. Because we live in Hawaii, we don't need the mainland codes all the time to live in, you know, the building codes of what the mainland is. We live in a tropical area where we can experiment with much more alternative ways of living, whether in community or on households. And so we invite you to join our alliance. It costs nothing to join. We have our little brochures in the back, and you can also sign up through the website and be part of the process for change. As this legislation is working its way through the system, we will be contacting people who are members to do, as they said, the flash network style of communicating with legislators at important parts of the bill's progress to as it goes through the system. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for your time. Aloha.
Okay, the next person that's going to speak is Nelson. Nelson Ho from Sierra Club, talking about Mauna Kea issue that's going on right now. Thank you.
Aloha, everybody.
Aloha.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to say a few words about an upcoming series of Mauna Kea meetings that's important. First off, it's Friday the 13th of December. The first thing is a hearing in Honolulu, if anybody happens to be there, at 9 o'clock in the morning before the Board of Land and Natural Resources. They are contemplating giving another 65-year lease to the University of Hawaii with very little controls and oversight. So there's a group of people, including Native Hawaiian cultural practitioners, that are going to challenge that. And in the upcoming year, they're going to need your support, financial and emotional support, as they challenge giving the university another 65-year lease at no charge whatsoever, not even a symbolic $1 a year. And that's, you know, a very valuable landscape that houses Canada, France, China, Japan, all these huge industrialized countries which are industrializing the summit of Mauna Kea. The same day, Friday the 13th at 9 a.m. in Hilo, you can come and watch and support the people that are challenging the 30-meter telescope, the very next one that is proposed for Mauna Kea. And they want to build the tallest building on this island, 180 feet tall. They want to put it on the northern slope of Mauna Kea, where it can be the largest telescope in the world for a couple months before the next one is commissioned elsewhere on the planet. What's happening there is a group of Hawaiian cultural practitioners and environmentalists have challenged the granting of a permit, of the permit for that proposed telescope. So 9 a.m., if you can be there, your support would be very appreciated. And I'm just glad to be here in this community that cares. So thank you very much. Celebrate all your wins. Okay.
We're done with speaking. Now there's going to be music. Love Eternal, husband and wife team, are going to give us some beautiful music. And when they're setting up, I'd just like to thank everybody for their awareness of what's happening in the community, their visions of the healthy, clean, powerful communities and environment. And I just want to thank you everybody for everything you do, everything you contribute, and all the hard work you do. And please keep on doing it and keep on winning. Aloha. Thank you.
It's so wonderful to be in a room of activists, of people who actually care, who want to take the time and hear what it is that they can do to engage the process of being in a world they want to see, that they believe in and they want to live in. I'm grateful. I'm really, truly grateful to all of you.
Yeah, we just moved here from Santa Cruz, California about a month ago, and there we were a big part of all types of activism, including Occupy Santa Cruz and Occupy Oakland, and really love being a part of a socially aware community. So when we first invaded Iraq, we hosted a gathering of activated people, and we sang this song.
On the county house steps with amplification and permits.
Come on, let there be true peace all across the land. And you guys can sing that along with us. Come on, let there be true peace all across the land. One more time, we'll try it all together. To let there be true peace all across the land. One more time, one more time. Let there be true peace across the land. This is not a passing fad nor a billboard ad. We are talking about survival. Survival of our species, humanity, yeah. We are in this together and all could last forever, but the time has come to make a choice and let the people hear your voice. Be peaceful, let there be true peace all across our lands. Let everybody feel joyous and content, every child with their mouths well fed. Let there be true peace all across the land. And when I can, I will lend a hand, and for peace I will always stay. For an eye leaves the whole world blind. What do you find? Fighting fire with fire, you'll burn us all down, burn us all down. On would you focus on growers and everybody knows, do unto others as you would have done unto you. Let peacefulness come through. Peace and love, what do you say? What do you say in a world gone astray? So gone astray. I don't know how we got this way. How we got this way. Peace and love, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? Come on, let there be true peace all across the land. Let there be true peace all across the land, all across the land. Let there be true peace all across the land, yeah. Give thanks.
I gotta keep my eye on this guy.
Thank you. And you guys were awesome. I love those lyrics. That was great. That was great. I was looking for a pick. I had one here somewhere, but you know. Okay. Yeah, I think we're just gonna do one more song because this thing seems like it's pretty much wrapping up. But thank you again for being activated in your community, making change in your community. We're gonna be playing with a band on the 19th over at Lahiki's Kava Bar, and the name of the group is called Love Eternal. And we're really grateful to be part of this community and doing what we can to make positive change. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got to rise up, stand up, speak out, and be counted as those who believe in peace. And rise up, stand up, speak out, and believe. Children believe. Oh, we gotta rise up, stand up, speak out, and be counted as those who believe in peace. And rise up, stand up, speak out, and believe. Children believe, children believe. For it's easier to call oneself a Christian than to walk like Christ. And it's easier to talk about peace than it is to put down a fight. But we all must try. If not for us, then for our children. So we all must try. I can see no greater reason for living more than to rise up, stand up, speak out, and be counted as those who believe in peace. And rise up, stand up, speak out, and believe. Children believe. Oh, we gotta rise up, stand up, speak out, and be counted as those who believe in peace. And rise up, stand up, speak out, and believe. Children believe. For there there's no bomb that can create world peace. If I had one song, I would sing it to the children, yes, as they plant seeds for this new world coming. Yes, we're gonna plant seeds. Do you believe? Do you believe me? Yes, we're gonna rise up, stand up, speak out, and be counted as those who believe in peace. And rise up, stand up, speak out, and believe. Children believe. Oh, we're gonna rise up, stand up, speak out, and be counted as those who believe in peace. And rise up, stand up, speak out, and believe. Children believe. Children believe. Children believe. Children believe. All right, beautiful people, stay active in your community. You've seen a lot of us around here, and we're grateful to be a part, so blessings.